I'm speechless.
Lindsay said that they made you work for it, and
Yeah,
that meant a lot to the Cal team, too.
yeah, yeah.
It's your tough test this week for you.
I think so. I think so. You know, our margin for error obviously has changed. You know, over the years, and you know, this is one of those years where you know, we have to be prepared to grind it out every night. And some nights we just make a lot of shots, and the other team misses a lot of shots, and you know, it turns out to be an easier game than I anticipated. But we you know, it's like that's our thing this year. You know, we hope for the best and we prepare for the worst. And in some parts of the game tonight, we got the worst. And I think the more of those situations that we're in, I think the better team we're going to become.
Cal got 14 offensive rebounds. Was that any concern with them getting as good as shots as they were getting?
Yeah, I mean, we know that there's a couple things that we can't handle, you know, and one of them is size, you know, and they're just a lot bigger than we are in a lot of ways. And nobody likes to give up offensive rebounds, believe me. I think it's the worst thing in the world. And we'll get better at it. But the reality of the situation is we're not a very big team, and I do think we tire out a little bit. But, you know, I don't know how many games we've played so far, 10, 11? 11. You know, we're a third of the way in the season, and every game you find out, yeah, you know what, we don't rebound the ball very well. Or the other day against Oklahoma, it was, you know, like, we don't stay with our offense very long. We get impatient and we shoot the ball too quickly sometimes. So every game you find out something about your team. And we knew today was going to be a struggle in the lane because they're just so big. But I thought, you know, we battled. The threes were crazy in the first half. I mean, that's what happens against us, though. And we're prepared for it most of the time. I mean, they make 5 a game. And they made 8 in the first half. You know, what are you going to do? You got to be ready to withstand that.
Geno, what do you think your games this week had in common to the good and to the bad?
What's
Both your games this week. What do you think
this
had
week?
in common to the good and to the bad?
What they had in common? I think the common thread from a negative standpoint would be how many shots we gave up that weren't contested like I would hope they would be. You know, like, to me, if you contest a shot the way you're supposed to and it goes in, that's not necessarily a loss. That's kind of a tie. The guy just made a great shot. But a lot of shots went up in these last 2 games where they were uncontested. And that's a problem. That has to be fixed, obviously. The thing that helped, that was positive about these last 2 games was in both games, you know, we figured out eventually, here's how we're going to stop you, and then here's what we're going to do on offense, and you can't stop us. And we did that the other night, and we did it again today. And I think we got up 15. Was that the biggest? 15? 17. We got up 17. And it was methodical 17. It wasn't like we ran out and make 7 threes or 5 threes, whatever the case may be. And it was, and I like that, because against a good team on the road, that's kind of how you have to do it. And like I said on Thursday night, this is how the majority of the world lives. They go on the road, they play a team ranked in the top 20 that's undefeated, and you expect a game like this. The only problem is we're Connecticut, and we're supposed to walk in this building and be up 30 at halftime and win by 60. So You know, it's not bad living in the real world. I mean, I didn't like it with about a minute and a half left.
So, Coach, with that 17-point lead, got whittled down to 6 within about 5 minutes. In
Yeah.
conjunction with the technical foul.
Yeah.
Was that the reason for the technical? What was going on in that run?
No, the run didn't have anything to do with it. It's what was happening down at our end that was being overlooked, I thought. And, I mean, we have a reputation around the country year in and year out. We just don't foul. Like, we don't smack people. We don't commit fouls. And by the end of the game, Cal had shot more free throws, and they still had 4 fouls to give. I mean, we're almost never, ever in that situation. And there were some things that happened down at our end that I was okay with it up to a point. Then I wasn't. And if my players would have done what I did, I'd have been really pissed and taken them out and taken their scholarship away. But I did it, and I just went into the locker room. I said, you know, I acted like them. You know, my bad. I won't do it again.
You guys saw Anigwe to 10 points. She usually averages 23 points, 5 or 6 in shooting. What was the key for you guys to limiting her? Scoring for
Well,
defending her?
in the first half, the trade-off was they got a lot of open threes because we were spending a lot of time trying to help in the lane. And that was the decision we made going in. Like, how do we want to lose? Do we want their leading scorer to get 40 tonight? Or do we want to hope that they shoot their regular percentage from the three-point line? And it backfired in the first half, but, you know, I don't think when you play a really good team, you're going to come in and go, all right, well, we're going to hold their leading scorer 13 points under their average, and they're not going to make any threes. I don't know. We're good enough to do that. I don't think we are. So we had to give up something, and we gave up some perimeter shots, but played the percentages. I think they made 2 in the second half. So if they'd have kept making them, if they'd have made 8 more in the second half, then you just got to, like, where are we going to dinner? That's the best you can do. They're a good team. I mean, they're a good team. They're bigger than they look on film. They're longer than they look on film. They play hard. They compete. Their guards are good. They're a good team. A really good team. And I thought Christy passed the ball better tonight than I've seen her pass it in a long time. And that really changes their team when she's passing the ball like that.
With your incredible coaching career at UConn, do you change your philosophy as you get new generations of players? Now we see the millennial generation. Do you, over the years, change your coaching style?
I would say I've altered my coaching style a little bit. I've not changed much, and I shouldn't have to. It's the part I don't understand, where everybody says, well, you know, you have to change your approach to meet today's players. Why? Why? They have to change their behavior to play for me. It's a lot easier for 12 people to each change their behavior than for me to try to accommodate 12 people. I mean, I did my part. I gave you a scholarship. Now your part is, all right, what does coach want me to do? Same as when you get a job, right? They gave me a job. Now they say, this is what I want you to do. Well, can you work with me here? Because I'm not sure I want to do it that way. I don't think that's the way the world works, does it? Not in the real world. So, yeah, I've adapted, altered, but I'm not changing. I am what I am, and that's the way it's going to be.
How about the outside distractions of social media?
Yeah, that's getting to be tough because these kids are being bombarded with stuff that fills their head with nonsense that isn't true. So they start to believe it. And I have a big thing in my program. I just tell them, say, listen, the only people whose opinion matters is mine. Those other people in your world can tell you everything they want to tell you. But at the end of the day, the only people's opinion that matters is mine. because those people are not going to put you in the lineup. They can say whatever they want. They can influence you any way they want. They can send you 75 emojis telling you how much they like you. They can do all that stuff. They can criticize me. They can do whatever they want. But they're not getting you in the lineup. I am. So my opinion is the one that counts. And I think sometimes these kids, it's unfair to them what's being done to them by the outside world. And a lot of times it's unfair what their parents do to them. You talk about influencers. I mean, so there's a lot going on with kids today, you know, and you go to a high school game, you can watch, Christine and I were just talking, you go to a high school game today, she went to one recently. Now, one kid said one word for 40 minutes, or 32 minutes. Just didn't speak. How do you do that? How do you do that? But that's kind of, so when we get a kid on the team, and our big thing in our program is you got to communicate. How many times you get wide open shots because somebody doesn't call out a screen? Somebody doesn't tell you what they're doing so you know what they're doing, so you can communicate. I mean, a big part of sports is you got to be able to communicate. And unfortunately for a lot of kids, it's a new thing for them. So yeah, it's way harder than it used to be. And the kids are way more talented than they used to be, I think. But there's some things that we need to teach them, and I don't know that you can change that much because there's still a way to teach it that works. I don't know. I wish I could find a better way to do it, but until I do, I'm doing it my way.
Coach, you mentioned last night driving around as a UConn team is like a circus.
Yeah.
So how gratifying is it to come to a school of this prestige and have the biggest crowd ever for a women's game?
Well, you know, this event that we had last night with Cal, and you know, Steve Kerr was here, and we talked about when his team, you know, if they go to Boston, it's a little bit different than some other team going to Boston. And if we come into town, it's a little different than another team coming to town. Is that good? Yeah, that's great. I wouldn't want it any other way. And the one comment I made, I said, we've done this so many times where we come in, it's their biggest crowd ever in the history of the program. And everybody's excited, and there's an air about the, you know, the game. And when we play, I said the absolute best thing that could ever happen is the home team wins. Because now a couple thousand of those people that were here to see us will come back and see Cal play, or whoever that home team is. I said that's the ideal situation. And someday Cal will be in that situation, just not today. I wasn't ready to be that person that was that nice. But that's what you want to happen. And they did the next best thing. They played a great game, and they probably impressed a lot of fans that had never seen them play before. And the more we do that around the country, the better the game gets in more places, so that winning then becomes even more meaningful. And I think that's part of our obligation on who we are.
Can you just talk about Kaylee Samuelson, her performance, and just what she did for you guys today?
I don't think Katie Lou got 11 rebounds her freshman year. I'll bet you go back and check her stats. I don't think she got 11 rebounds her freshman year. I don't mean in one game. I mean for the season. And for her to get double-doubles now, a lot. That kid has grown up and changed. Her reputation was she makes shots. And that kid has changed. That's what I'm talking about. That kind of, you have certain standards, you hold kids to standards, and kids will change. And she's changed. And she's a basketball player now, a kid who shoots. She still makes every shot almost. It seems like when she misses, you want to go, how'd that happen? But now she's handling the ball, she's playing defense, she's rebounding it, she's communicating, you know. She's yelling at me because I got the T. She's getting a little bit full of herself, but her parents were here, so she wanted to show how tough she was. But that kid has become a hell of a basketball player. And there's not a time ever when I think she's ever going to miss a shot. And she scores in the lane now. She's just become a really, really fun basketball player to watch. I'm really happy for her. She's kind of, stripped away all that California nonsense that she came with. I have a kid I've had from California can shoot the lights out. Diana, Kalina Lewis, Katie Lou. Every kid, they learn to shoot out here. Not much else, but they learn to shoot. They think defense is for the guys who grow up east. I came over here to shoot, and, Lou's changed. I love it. I've enjoyed coaching Lou about as much as I've enjoyed any kid I've ever had. And Nafisa, the two of them combined. I've enjoyed coaching them about as much as any kids I've ever coached in all my years at Connecticut. For sure. Thank you all for coming out. that really means a lot to, I'm sure, to the Cal people, to us, to everybody, and I wish you all a happy holiday. Thank you.